The same way as I love this country right now, I love the Marine Corps too. A role model for me because my parents were living in Ukraine when I moved here. So my sister was basically accomplishing the roles of the sister, of the mom, of the friend, this and that. I said, Your Honor, you cannot use the word fraudulent because this is all allegations.
Welcome to Celebrating Justice, presented by the Trial Lawyers Journal and CloudLex, the next-gen legal cloud platform built exclusively for personal injury law. Get inspired by the nation's top trial lawyers and share in the stories that shape our pursuit of justice. Follow the podcast and join our community at triallawyersjournal.com. Now here's your host, editor of TLJ and VP of Marketing at CloudLex, Chad Sands.
It's a common question I'm sure you've answered, and take your time when you tell me the story, but go back to the beginning and tell me why you wanted to become a trial lawyer.
Okay, to be completely frank with you, I wasn't born thinking that I would be an attorney or even further like a trial lawyer. I don't think it was anywhere close to being my mind. I was actually, I used to be a professional soccer player back in Ukraine until the age of 17 when I unfortunately got injured. I had a meniscus injury. And because of that, I moved to the US at the age of 17, not really speaking English much, not really understanding what people were saying to me. And this is how my journey began. A couple years down the road, I joined the Marine Corps, where I served for almost 4 years. And when I was getting discharged from the Marine Corps, my sister was already an attorney. And I think that was the major, I would say, decision maker who told me you should probably pursue my route because I can explain certain things for you. And I'm also pretty successful. That's what she said. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why I joined. And not joined. That's why I started preparing for the LSAT. And then I ended up going to law school. But now I absolutely love it, and I don't have any regrets.
So tell me a little bit about being a pro soccer player in Ukraine when you're 16 years old.
So I guess if someone would ask me a question, like, what is your talent, if you have any, I would say my biggest talent is not being a lawyer or not like being a great person. It's definitely, I was a great soccer player, and I still am, but my time is kind of already past because already 32. And also I'm pursuing something different right now. But yeah, I was definitely like, I would say it sounds subjectively, but I would say objectively because a lot of people told me that as well. I was really good at soccer and this is something I wanted to pursue. But unfortunately I had an injury. I guess the God had different plans for me.
Right, yes. Did you tear your meniscus?
Correct. I tore my meniscus, and unfortunately the medical system in Ukraine was not as advanced as it is here or in other countries. So the injections I was getting or any kind of other therapies I was getting were not really helpful. It was just like a temporary relief, and it was never getting 100%. So that's why I made the ultimate decision to just stop.
Yeah, I mean, I play tennis and I tore my meniscus and can't imagine trying to continue at a professional level of sport after that type of injury, unless you obviously have like a major surgery to repair
For
it.
sure. For sure. And just to add to this a little bit more, I think it's better when the injury happens at the early age, because if it would happen to me, let's say like at the age of 25, 26, then you don't really have, majority of like the athletes don't have a degree. And if you didn't make enough money, like let's say if you're not a Messi or Ronaldo who have enough money at the age of 25, then you're kind of stuck. So I'm glad it happened earlier than later.
Yes. And so after the soccer career got cut short, you came to the US. Did you join the Marines right away, or how did you decide to enlist?
Okay, so that's actually a good question. I wasn't thinking about joining the Marine Corps as well. I was going to the community college. I was on a student visa. I was going to community college. And then, to be completely frank with you, I started like going out a lot. I started hanging out with some like people who were dragging me down. And yeah, I made the decision to join the Marine Corps simply out of discipline. And later on, also, same as with the law, no regrets whatsoever. Like I loved it. It was like I became more patriotic about this country. We traveled, I met amazing people, amazing leaders. And I think it has a big like transferability into the law as well. like the discipline and just the leadership and all of those qualities.
And so after the Marine Corps, then you mentioned your sister. So was your sister an attorney in California or was she in New York? Where was she practicing law? And is she a personal injury attorney?
So my sister is not a personal injury attorney, completely different. She does tax law for this firm called Linklaters, which is based in London. She actually
Okay.
just got promoted to counsel this week from a senior associate to counsel. And congratulations to her, I guess.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, she does something completely different. But she was always a big role model for me because my parents were living in Ukraine when I moved here. So my sister was basically accomplishing the roles of the sister, of the mom, of the friend. And I think every decision she made for me or with me, that was only positive. That was never a negative experience.
Did you kind of stumble into personal injury law and trial work, or and did you kind of start thinking that, well, if my sister is a tax attorney, maybe I should just be a tax attorney or do contracts or something? Or how did you officially, find, you know, plaintiff personal injury kind of your calling?
So I did the prosecution internship. I did the criminal defense internship, which, especially criminal defense, I liked it. Like I enjoyed it for the whole year. And definitely have a lot of stories from that internship. My last year of law school, I started working for this like solo practitioner. His name is Robert Marcus, and also just an amazing individual. Like I don't know, he treated me like he was my father. We still up to this day, like we go out together, we go to the gym together, even though he's like older. He's 73 and I'm 32. And he was he just retired, kind of semi-retired recently. A very successful personal injury attorney. He was a partner in the firm. When I started working for him, he was already transitioning out. So it was only like, let's say 20, 25 cases we were working on together, but he taught me a lot, and I kind of liked it. I enjoyed the process. And when I was getting ready for the bar exam, I also worked for another personal injury firm in Queens. And so this is my third right now. This is my third experience, and I think you can help people out who actually like really got injured, of course, and you can make a decent living as well with it. So I think it's a good area.
So, other than being former Ukrainian soccer player and former Marine who found their way from San Diego to New York, what makes you unique as a trial lawyer?
uh, I would like to say what makes me unique is I'm a very extrovert person, and I like to help people out. Like I'm very caring, and it has a big like transferability into the law and into like every activity I do every day. So yeah, like when I go to the courtroom, I tend to find it's very easy for me to like start talking to a new person or the person I already know, and we like it's easier for me to find a common ground literally with any person I talk to. If it's a judge, if someone senior, if it's someone the same level with me, and care. I just tend to care about a lot of things in life, and I do them diligently. So I think just bringing that care into my practice also helps a lot because you tend to represent people better with care and like pay attention to their needs and details. And I think it has a positive impact at the end of the day.
Do you attribute your ability to kind of connect with people and just, have conversations? Do you attribute that more to you being a guy who grew up in a foreign country and came to America? Or do you maybe attribute that more to the time you had in the Marines and, the military and that whole experience? Or do you attribute to something else completely?
I would say both. I would say a little bit more just me being me, and like I guess my
Mhm.
family may be genetically passing something to me, or maybe something I learned when I was a kid. And let me explain like what it is. It's like I don't know, anywhere like let's say me and my family we go to like to the beach or we go to like some vacation spot. The next morning when like everyone wakes up, goes to breakfast, already like 80% of the people know who I am. And I
Right.
sometimes I don't even try to like let's say introduce myself to like a girl or let's say anyone. It just happens like naturally. And I would like to say maybe it's a certain skill, But
For sure.
second aspect of it is the Marine Corps definitely made me more like gave me perseverance and the motivation to accomplish and not give up. So even let's say you want to pursue a certain woman in life, like you like someone, you have to have, a certain strength in yourself to stand up and like go in front of everyone to go introduce yourself and maybe get embarrassed or maybe not or maybe so. I think it's also the Marine Corps that taught me, not teaches you, but taught me personally how to be more strong and how to like have that motivation and not give up no matter what.
Do you see some of your skills that you got in when your time during the Marines? Do you apply that as a lawyer to what you do on a day in and day out basis still?
100%, 100%. Like every single day, not when I come in, when I leave my office, I
Hmm.
like take everything out from my desk and from like everything around. I clean everything. I make my notes for the next day. And like sometimes there is no really like necessity to do that, but I feel like the fact that I do it every single day, the next day I come in, everything is clean. Like I have my notes. Maybe something got in the way last night, but because I have this note still sitting from last day, I remember about like what I have to do. And I think even bigger in a courtroom as well. Like in a courtroom, it's a organized environment.
Yes.
So you need to know how to be organized and you cannot be, sloppy. And I think that's also helps in a courtroom because sometimes it's friendly, sometimes not friendly, but it's organized environment, like I said, and you need to be organized yourself in order to be a good attorney there.
Yeah, makes sense. It's kind of like the whole, Marine or Navy SEAL making your bed every morning, I guess, analogy, but you as a lawyer kind of do that at the end of the day for your office. So when you come in the next morning, things are as they should be.
Yeah, I'm definitely not as organized as I used to be when I was in Marine Corps. Because like over there, you have like a field days, and sometimes, especially in the beginning, people come into your room to check twice a day. Did you do this? I'm not as organized probably any longer, but
Yes.
definitely has a big impact into a lot of areas.
You still have some of the core values that
I think it's all here. Like this
yeah.
is the most important part.
Have you been back to Ukraine in the years past?
I used to go once or twice a year to
Okay,
see my
wow.
family,
Uh-huh.
but then when the full scale war began, like what 4 or 5 years ago, I stopped going because even though like I have the American passport, like there is a possibility if I go there, maybe like they will take me
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
make me like I don't know, but yeah, basically I haven't.
Haven't been back.
I still feel bad every day for like my friends who like die. Like some of the people I played soccer with, they ended up joining willingly, unwillingly, and like it's not that I know for a fact that they passed away, but there is no information about them. So it's kind of the same end result. So it's very, and I'm just here, I'm enjoying the freedom. So I think like I don't take it for granted.
Yeah, I bet. I guess when it comes to the cases that you've worked on, can you share a story about a specific case that really had an impact on you?
So I was actually thinking about like this question specifically because like I saw kind of like a preview beforehand.
Yes.
I was like, I don't really know how to answer this question in particular because I worked on so many different cases and
Yep.
I was trying to backtrack and remember like which one stands out the most. Is it like because in the criminal defense, we would go in front of the judge a lot and like argue cases to get people out of certain like criminal activities.
Yes.
So it was a lot of interesting cases and prosecution as well. Then I did some labor law cases where we would have to defend. Let me give you an example. Let's say, like a pilot on the Canadian Airlines who flew the airplane while we were intoxicated from the previous night
Right.
drinking.
Yep.
There is no like damage to the passengers. However, the person gets fired, obviously, because there could have been damage. And we will have to argue that the person has like a certain seniority and certain years on the job and he should be forgiven. So it was always like balancing the moral aspect, is it with the legal aspect, like what's morally right, what's legally right. So it was very interesting. But I guess, okay, I kind of went around for too long. Let me
No, no,
try to
no.
answer the question. So I guess I can talk about a specific case. It's not really anything big, but the reason why I remember it is because it gave me kind of like a negative feeling,
Hmm.
and I feel like I can learn from it as well. So not too long ago, I was representing the dental. It was a small claims court because I'm still waiting for my admission. It's been 3 months. I mean, I don't know why. Like I've been contacting them, but they're not really admitting me yet. So I go to the courtroom with my boss. Tomorrow I'm going to the courtroom with my boss. I just can't really do like the EBTs and stuff because I'm not admitted yet. So I went to the small claims court. Was representing the dental practice against the defendant who was a patient at this dental practice. There was basically an erroneous billing. Erroneous billing took place, and the patient was overbilled. Actually, the insurance, not the patient. The insurance was overbilled a certain amount. Once it was discovered that he was overbilled a certain amount, the insurance reached out to the dental office, and the dental office paid out everything. So there was no physical damage to the patient and no financial loss because the money was between insurance and the dental office. There was no
Hmm.
money involved from the patient side. And he still filed a lawsuit against the dental practice stating that there was a delay in treatment, that he couldn't get a treatment somewhere else because of this. So even though his arguments morally make sense legally, I don't think he had an argument. So he didn't have any physical injuries at
Hmm.
all, and financial aspect was all taken care of, meaning the insurance was fully compensated by the dental office.
Right.
However, and it was my first experience, so I didn't really know like what to do, and I was nervous, I was anxious. So I went in front of the judge, but I guess the judge was sympathizing more with the patient without really looking into the legal aspect. And I was the one who did like, I don't know, I put like 5, 8 hours, maybe 10 hours of preparation into this. Like I knew ins and outs of the case, I presented evidence, but she just sympathized with the person and basically said, where is the money? Where's the money from the dental practice? And I was just really angry because I was like, there shouldn't be any money. The case should just be. And sorry, but just to backtrack a little bit more, the first time I appeared for this case, the patient who was filing the claim, he didn't even appear. So I traveled all the way to the court for him not to appear. The case was dismissed, and then he reinstated the case saying he was sick. So basically, I had to appear again. And that second time, the judges really not listening to my arguments, not really looking into my evidence, more sympathizing with the person. And they gave me a little bit of like a negative feeling. And yeah, so it was like a couple of, and I had to go back again the third time the next day to reach the settlement. We ended up paying the patient a certain amount of money. But I just felt really negative inside because I wanted to argue, but the judge really didn't even listen to my arguments. And so I guess from now on, if something similar happens again, I just have to find like maybe a different approach, or sometimes you just have to take maybe a certain loss and carry on with the plan of your day.
What was he claiming? He was claiming that because the dental office paid and worked with the insurance company that he couldn't get treatment at some other dental clinic?
What's funny, he actually ended up going to vacation. He went to vacation. He didn't even really seek any other treatment. But his argument was that because he was overbilled for certain procedures, he went to another office to get those procedures and he couldn't get them done because another office already billed for them. But
Oh,
in reality, he could have went to any other office, or he could have even went back to the original office and get that procedure, and later on that insurance issue would have been taken care of.
right.
But
Especially
so
if he just went back to the original dental clinic that was dealing with his insurance.
correct. And lastly, about this, the delay in treatment that we were talking about, it did not result in any kind of like tooth decay or any
Right,
kind of like physical injury. He
right.
didn't have any physical injury. So I felt like It's my first time. I still don't know pretty much anything, but I still have a valid argument, and it just completely gets suppressed. So I felt a little bit offended, and I felt bad in the client's, like, I felt personally bad because I feel like the client was expecting this case to be dropped, but now we have to reach the settlement, unfortunately.
And so you were kind of working, I guess, on the defense side, right? Because you were defending the dental clinic against
Yeah,
a
yes, yes. So that was not our like usual type of work. That was just like kind of helping out like acquaintance that we knew.
yes. And I mean, do you kind of feel like, I hate to use the word, but was it a frivolous lawsuit? You know what I mean? In terms of he didn't have any physical damages, he didn't lose any money. He seemed to be okay to go on vacation and then come back and not show up for the first time he was supposed to in court, and then said he was sick, and so he files again. Did you ever have that feeling that like this is complete BS and we shouldn't even be having to deal with this?
This is exactly how I felt. However, maybe like once again, I'm not even admitted yet, so I don't
Yeah.
have. I'm using a lot of logic, and I used a lot of law too. But for me, that's exactly how I felt. It's like, why are we even listening to this? And I also presented all the evidence completely. I sent it out beforehand. This person just shows up. He does not present any evidence that he says delay in treatment, then present some kind of evidence that there is because delay in treatment has to result in a physical injury. Present something. There was absolutely zero paperwork, zero. It was just 1, 2 sentences to the judge, who's like, okay, yeah, like we feel bad for you. Let us give you some money. And I'm like, but this is not how it's supposed to work. This is not what I envisioned. So basically, the way you explained it, that was actually very good. Yeah, that's how I felt.
But I guess, you can chalk it up to technically a loss, right? And so now you'll have to learn from that loss, which a lot of people say you learn a lot more from your losses than you do from the wins.
Correct. I mean, maybe because I feel like I got hit it a couple of times with the judge, even though she was not, I don't think she was a real judge. I think she was one of maybe the attorneys. I don't know. I don't wanna make this claim
No,
because
straight.
like I don't
Yeah.
know. But I got a little bit heated, and the next day I was like, I apologize, even though I think she was okay. Something I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
She said on the first day when we were like kind of going back and forth, she said, your office that I represent committed a fraudulent this and that. I said, Your Honor, you cannot use the word fraudulent because this is all allegations. How can you say it's fraudulent? This is already like a conclusion. So I was getting a little bit suspicious about certain words she was saying, and that's why I got heated. So the next day I was like, you know what? Let me change the strategy a little bit. I'm gonna apologize. It doesn't hurt to apologize, even if I felt like I was right, but maybe I was wrong in something. So I apologized, but after I apologized, I said, Your Honor may be heard, and I wanted to once again present the argument. There is no physical, no financial harm. She said, Where is the money? Where is the money? And I was like, Yeah, this is pointless. I'm not even a human being here.
At CloudLex, we understand the unique demands and opportunities that personal injury law firms face every day. That's why we've built a comprehensive platform designed exclusively for personal injury law. Our seamless case management, AI engine, litigation support, and record retrieval solutions empower you at every stage, from intake through settlement and beyond, helping you stay productive, organized, and focused on achieving successful outcomes for your clients. Explore what's possible at CloudLex.com. Now, here is this episode's closing argument.
I want to share a little bit about how great this country is for me personally and overall. I think this is the greatest country on earth, and let me explain to you why. As I mentioned previously, I moved to the US from Ukraine when I was 17 years old. Didn't really know much about the US. I didn't really speak the language, so every time I would come into my school, I couldn't understand what people were saying to me. It was really hard, so I had to bring my sister with me to translate. Eventually, step by step, I would say 5-7 months down the road, I was able to communicate and explain myself. I was working for the restaurants on the weekends as a busboy, cleaning the plates, getting home, at 7 a.m. while people were sometimes going to work on Monday. And sometimes I felt like I'm not a good individual, I'm not a proper citizen of this society. Eventually, I stopped working for the restaurant. Then I joined the Marine Corps. In the beginning, same thing as moving to the US. Had no idea what the organization was. Like, they dropped us off in the boot camp. The drill instructors were yelling at us, and I was like, what is happening? I'm not really prepared. Like, psychologically, mentally, it was super hard. Then things started getting better, and once again, the same way as I love this country right now, I love the Marine Corps too. It was a great experience. I met amazing leaders. We traveled. I became very patriotic about this country, which I'm gonna carry with me for the rest of my life. I finished the Marine Corps, then I went to law school, and now I'm an attorney. Even though I'm not anywhere as accomplished as I want to be in the future, there are bigger goals and bigger achievements in my mind. Hopefully one day I will be there. Even though this country has some certain issues, like maybe on a political level, people's opinions are divided and stuff, some other problems inside the country. If we fix these things, this country is going to become an even better place. America is just a great place that gives people unlimited possibilities for success. And a lot of people, unfortunately, they don't really understand this. You can only see those things in order to really feel what it is and how great it is to be here on this earth and like live here, breathe this air, and be an American citizen.
You've been listening to Celebrating Justice, presented by CloudLex and the Trial Lawyers Journal. Remember, the stories don't end here. Visit triallawyersjournal.com to become part of our community and keep the conversation going. And for a deeper dive into the tools that empower personal injury law firms, visit cloudlex.com/TLJ to learn more.